hear any noise in the background, it's just my dog. She insisted on being in the room with me while I filmed videos today. Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book review of a book that I just finished yesterday and had a lot of thoughts about, and so I wanted to sit down and film a full review. That's what I'm doing, and the book of course is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a book that was really highly anticipated by many people, myself included, and so I'm really excited to be talking to you about it today. Daisy Jones and the Six is about a fictional rock band from the 70s and what exactly happened as they started out, rose to fame, and then ultimately broke up. The book is written in the format of a transcript of interviews that the band and people associated with the band did about 40 years after the band has broken up. Basically, it's just everybody's personal accounts of what it was like to be in this band and what it was like to be around this band and exactly how it was in the 70s during this era. This is a book that I was really nervous about picking up because a lot of early reviewers and people that I truly trust were either giving it really low ratings or DNFing it altogether. I think it's really hard when you have a masterpiece like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo to follow up with that. I think a lot of people were nervous to see what kind of book Taylor Jenkins Reid was going to put out after putting out Evelyn Hugo. And I think that it can be easy to keep your expectations high because that book was so good, but for me, because the people that I was seeing review it, friends of mine, were giving it lower ratings, then I was able to kind of lower my expectations, and I'm really glad that I went into it with an open mind because I ended up absolutely loving this book. So the first thing I want to talk about is the audiobook, because I think if anything is going to sell you on reading this book, it's going to be listening to the audiobook. Like I said, this is a book of interview transcripts, and that doesn't necessarily sound like the most interesting thing to read, but the audiobook has a full cast of narrators. Every single character in the book that does an interview has a voice actor for them. And you've got some big name people narrating parts of this audiobook. Jennifer Beals, Benjamin Bratt, Judy Greer. I mean, just a full cast of really phenomenal voice actors. And they bring this book to life. They add in emotion and sighs and heartbreak that I don't think you would be able to pick up on if you were just reading the book on the page. I think that this is a story that has to be consumed via audiobook. I think it's a fair assessment, it's a fair statement for me to say that this is my favorite audiobook that I've ever listened to, and it's just because it made me feel so much and it made me feel present in the story. So now moving on to the actual content of the book, one of the things that I absolutely loved about this book was the way that the female experience of the rock music scene in the 1970s was explored. Because you're talking to so many people and you're learning about the experiences of so many people, you get a lot of different perspectives. You of course get Daisy's perspective, who doesn't necessarily know how to deal with this sudden burst of fame that she's found herself in, and she uses drugs and alcohol and sex to kind of numb herself to the expectations that everybody around her has for her. But you also get Karen's perspective, who just wants to play rock and roll music and really doesn't care about society's expectations for her to get married and settle down and have kids. She just wants to be present in the moment. And you get Camilla's perspective, who is watching her husband struggle day in and day out with holding on to his family while also being the leader of this quickly rising to fame rock band. And all the while, she's basically at home by herself raising 3 kids while her husband is on the road 90% of the time. I think it's easy to think about what it's like to be in the band or what it's like to be the lead singer of the band, but there are so many other experiences, and this book really does a good job of exploring all avenues of what the female experience was like during this time. I'd say that the characters were easily the shining stars of this book. Not just Daisy Jones and Billy Dunn, but also Camilla and Warren and Karen and even Eddie and Simone and Graham. You get so many perspectives from so many characters, so it's easy to see the good and bad in every single character and every situation. But of course, the band was what it was because of Billy Dunn and Daisy Jones, and I'd say that the book is what it is because of Billy Dunn and Daisy Jones. Their fiery back and forth relationship kept the book moving, and it was so interesting because it was so realistic. Watching these two characters struggle with their feelings for each other while also coming to the realization that there can never be anything between them because they both have responsibilities that are more important than their possibility of a connection is some of the most heartbreaking stuff that I've ever read. It's almost like you're rooting for them, but knowing that there's no chance that it's ever gonna happen. And while they come to terms with that in the book, you as the reader also have to come to terms with that. And it was just heartbreaking and raw, and just, I loved every aspect of it. So the big question is, did I like Daisy Jones more than I like Evelyn Hugo? And I'd say that an easy answer is that I like them for different reasons. I liked Evelyn Hugo because it was so personal to me, and it made me feel things not only about the story but about myself as well, and I really connected with that book. But I like Daisy Jones because it is masterfully written, and I was so connected to this story. I was so in it from the very beginning. Evelyn and Daisy are two very strong female characters, but they're also two incredibly different types of characters. Evelyn Hugo is amazing because she knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to go to any lengths to get what she wants. She's a force to be reckoned with, and in the end, the only person that can reckon with her is her one true love. And Daisy Jones is amazing because she is a hopeless, lost girl who is just desperate for someone to find her and save her. And in the end, the person that does save her is not who she thought it was going to be. And that makes the story all the better. One thing that Taylor Jenkins Reid just absolutely excels at is writing a story about a fictional star or a fictional band and making me desperate for them to be real. I wish I could go see an Evelyn Hugo movie. I wish I could listen to Aurora and go see Daisy Jones and the Six perform. I think it's a testament to how amazing a writer Taylor Jenkins Reid is, because she can make people feel so strongly for characters and for people that aren't even real. And with this book, she's definitely cemented herself as my favorite author. I cannot wait to see what she puts out next. After two back-to-back hits with Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and all the books that she's written before that I also really enjoy, I think that she just can do no wrong, and I'm really excited to see and read everything that she puts forth in the future. If you haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six yet, do yourself a favor and go read it. If you like audiobooks, this is a book that you need to read on audio because it is so well done. Just one of the best audiobooks, if not the best, that I've ever listened to, and I can't recommend it enough. And if you're nervous about picking up this book after reading and loving The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, just remember that they are two completely different stories written in two completely different styles about two completely different characters, and they both deserve a shot. I'm so glad that I picked this book up, and I'm really glad that I loved it, and I have no doubt that this will be in my top books of 2019 because it was just amazing. So those are my thoughts on Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is definitely going to be one of my favorite books of the year, if not one of my favorite books of all time. I just can't see myself not continuing to love it and think about it, and I can't wait to even reread it in the future because I really enjoyed it. If you've read Daisy Jones and the Six and you have similar or different opinions to mine, I'd really love to know. Let me know down in the comments. Just, of course, be wary of spoilers. If you want to talk about something spoilery, give a good enough warning, or you're always free to message me on Twitter. I would love to talk to you about this book because I loved it. That's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!